Welcome to Real World Peaceful Parenting, a podcast for parents that are tired of yelling, threatening, and punishing their kids. Join mom and master certified parent coach Lisa Smith as she gives you actionable, step-by-step strategies that'll help you transform your household from chaos to cooperation. Let's dive in.
Welcome to today's episode. I love being here with you each week, and I wanted to take a minute to tell you that I'm so proud of you for investing this time in your parenting, in your kids, and in your family. Well done, you. Well done. I also want to give you an invitation. If you have a suggestion for a future podcast episode or a question you'd like to ask me, feel free to reach out to us over on Instagram at the_peaceful_parent. You can send us a direct message on Instagram with a question, a comment, or a suggestion for a future episode. I would absolutely love to hear from you. Now, if you've been listening to these episodes for a while, you know I do my very best to bring you tips, ideas, and support that helps you create deep connection and cooperation with your kids. And today I want to take the episode to a whole new level. I say all the time that reading and listening is information and coaching is transformation. Getting coached yourself or listening to someone else get coached is where we take everything to the next level. It's where you have an opportunity to really create the transformation in your family. So today I have a special treat for you. Today, I want you to be able to listen in on a coaching call. So Dani, who is a Hive member and a mother of a 7-year-old and a 5-year-old little boys who are strong-willed, reached out to me for support around getting her strong-willed kids to get ready in the morning. Can you relate to this one? She feels like they're late all the time or always rushing to not be late. So Dani reached out and asked me to address kids and procrastination. She asked me, Lisa, why do they do it? And how do I overcome it? My youngest always waits until the last minute to do everything and then usually tells me he won't do it and then finally runs to do it right before we have to walk out the door. All the while I'm losing my shiz. She asked me any thoughts on how to motivate him to get going a bit earlier. He's 5 and I'm at my wit's end. Yep, Dani, I know exactly how to help you. So Dani and I jumped on a call and I want you to listen as I coach Dani through the tools and the support and the coaching that I give her so that she can use these tools with her strong-willed 5-year-old to create connection and cooperation in the home while getting to school on time. So have a listen and enjoy. And while you're listening, I don't care how old your kids are. They could be 2 and 4 months old, or 12, or 16, or 18. I want you to listen with your own family in mind. I want you to listen. The tools are universal across all age ranges. And so listen with your own family in mind and how you can take the tools that I'm teaching and reinforcing with Dani and bring them into your home to create your own transformation. So welcome, Dani. I'm so happy to have you here today. I'm looking forward to having this conversation and seeing how I can help. Why don't we start out by you telling me what we're coaching on today?
Okay. Well, thank you so much for having me. I'm really dealing with this problem. I don't know what to do. I'm kind of stuck. So I have 2 sons, and my youngest one's name is Jacob, and he recently turned 5, and he's like the utmost procrastinator. He just won't do things. And he just like has every excuse in the book. And he just, will say yes to your face. And then just, you come back and he's still naked and he said he would get dressed. And I'm at a loss. I don't know what to do. I don't want to yell. I'm reminding him 100 times and I don't want to keep doing that. And I'm trying to have fun, but we've got to go places. We've got to get to the places, school, for instance, or church. And I can't take him in his pajamas.
Right.
So I'm kind of yeah, I'm kind of stuck.
So let me ask you, do you think he remembers or do you think that he forgets what he agreed to do?
I think with the morning routine first, like school, he knows because
Okay.
we've been doing the same thing pretty much all the time. He may forget if it's something different, like if we're going for a play date or we're going to church, then he may just, it's a different routine. It's a different day. We're not on our normal schedule. So then it may be possible that he's forgetting.
Okay,
But
let's take the school routine, because that sounds like that. I mean, that obviously happens 5 days a week for many years. So let's break that down a little bit. So you have these things, you want to leave the house at 8 o'clock, let's say.
right,
And on the regular, he is not ready to go.
right.
And you walk in the bedroom and he's not dressed, not ready to go. And looking out the window, playing with a toy.
So I'll give you an example of this morning. So he wants to go to walk his older brother to school. So we have to be out of the house at 7:45, let's say. And there'll be he'll eat his breakfast. That's not an issue. And then he'll be in his jammies and he wants to play. So I know that he wants to play. So I've woken him up early enough to try to allow for some playtime. But I try to say things like, Jacob, after you get dressed, then you can play. And he'll look at me and he'll go, okay, mommy. And then he'll open the door and go outside. And I'm like, okay, what do I do? And then I'm like, okay, I'm going to let him be outside for a minute. So this morning he came back inside, he put his underwear on, and then he went back outside and he was like, mommy, you have to see this. You have to come out here and see what's in the dirt. And, I'm freaking out because I'm like, we've got to go. You're still in your underwear. Your brother's getting dirty. Like, my stress level is rising. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to look at what you're doing and then we can get dressed. And so we find the thing, we do the activity that Jacob wants to do. Then he goes inside and I go to get my shoes on and his brother gets his stuff and gets in the car. And I turn around and he's got his shirt on and he's playing with a toy. And so, and then I'm like, and so the end result was like, yes, he put his pants on. And I am like, we're leaving, we're going to the car, we're leaving, and I leave the house and get in the car. And then he'll come running out, but he doesn't have socks. He doesn't have shoes. He did remember his lunchbox and his drink. And so he's putting on his shoes and socks in the car, which is not the end of the world, but it's like, every day it's something.
Mm-hmm.
And my biggest thing is I don't want him. He still goes to a school where it's not a consequence if he's late, but now his brother goes to like a real school, and it's a consequence if he's late. So I'm like, we cannot have the whole entire family late because you are procrastinating or playing or doing what Jacob has to do.
Okay. So I hear a few things going on here, Dani. Let's break them down a little bit.
Okay.
So what I hear is in your adult brain, your fully developed brain, in the very beginning of that example, that was a perfect example, really great one. In the beginning of it, in your mind, you and Jacob made a contract. He's going to get dressed and then he can go outside and play.
Right.
So in your mind, you're like, we've agreed. I set the rules. You said, yes, mommy, we're good to go.
Right.
Okay. Then he turns around, he runs outside. And then the second problem comes in where you're like, okay, well, I'll let him play for a few minutes, but we've made the agreement. And then he's going to come back inside and remember that he has to get dressed.
Right.
Then we move on to the third tier, which is where you come back in the room later only to realize that you lived up to your end of the bargain and you bent the rules and he didn't live up to his end of the bargain. And my guess at that point is you get triggered, dysregulated, and now you're pissed because first we set the contract, you agreed to it. Then I let you sort of do your own thing with the, unspoken agreement that you were going to get back on track and be ready to go at 7:45. And now nothing's happened. You got to do what you wanted and you didn't live up to anything on my side.
Yeah. Sounds a little crazy when you put it like that, but yes.
Well, no, it's just, this is what our brain does. We think that we're making progress. We think he's agreeing because he did agree.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. And I'm very much like, when you say you're going to do it, you do it. Like,
right.
The core value. I know it's silly, maybe silly for a 5-year-old, but.
Well, no, it's your core value and it's what you want to work towards in the family, but he's 5.
Right.
And he's got shiny object syndrome. And, he may not even realize what he agreed to in the morning, in the very beginning. He okey doked you, right? So let's step through how to make this better. Okay.
Okay.
Step 1, when you say to him, Jacob, we're going to get dressed and then you can go out to play. And he says, okay, mommy, I want you to say to him, repeat back to me what you just agreed to.
Okay.
Let's get a feel for whether he understands what he's just agreed to. Because sometimes as adults, we speak in complicated sentences and kids agree to things. I mean, there are so many times over the years where I've said to Malcolm, okay, this, and he's like, right, got it, mom. And I've said, okay, so what did I just say? And he looks at me and he's like, I have no idea. Even now, it happened like a couple weeks ago and we were totally laughing about it because I tend to speak in very, adult mom speak, like, okay, you're going to do this and then this and then this, and then that's naturally going to lead that. Okay, ready, break. And he's like, I have no idea, mom. So I want you to clarify that he heard you. And so it might go something like this. Jacob, I want you to get dressed and then you can go play. Got it, mom. Okay, what did I just say, Jacob? I have no idea. Okay, let me repeat it. We're going to get dressed, or you might even need to be more specific. Shirt, pants, socks, and shoes. Because what does get dressed mean to a 5-year-old, right? To one 5-year-old, it might mean a shirt and pants, and to another, it might mean just pants. And, to you, it means shirt, pants, shoes, and socks.
Right.
So the more specific you can be, these 4 things, shirt, shorts, pants, socks, shoes, then you may play. And keep going back and forth until he can articulate that to you and then close him. Okay, so you're going to get that done, right? Because when we make a commitment to the other person, and this is the part you said, in our family, we value doing what we say we're going to do. We value following through on our commitment. Often that takes closing someone. Right? If you and I sort of go back and forth about meeting for dinner and I'm unsure, are we meeting or not? I may not be there. But if you're like, okay, Lisa, I'll see you next Tuesday at the original Chop Shop at 6:00, I'm like, I will be there. It's on my calendar. Done. We've closed it. We've closed the loop. So we need to close the loop with him too. Like, hey, buddy, can you get that done?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
What if he says no?
Then you say, why not?
Okay.
Tell me. Well, I can't get my shoes on. Oh, okay. Okay. How about I help you? How about we put a different pair of shoes on? How about you come get me when you're ready? I mean, most kids, especially at 5, aren't going to say no just for sport. Right. And you want to understand why. Okay, well, why not? And then work with them on whatever reason comes up. Why not? Another thing here is to point out before we move on is at 5 years old, I'm hardwired for what, Dani?
Fun.
Yeah. So what we as adults know is we're going to do the work and then the fun is going to come.
Right.
Kids don't really know this. So the other opportunity is to make the getting the dress fun.
Yeah.
Let's see how fast you can do it. Let's set a timer. Let's see who can get dressed first. I'm going to run to my room and I'm going to get on my shoes, pants, shirt, and socks. Let's see who can win. Let's see. Right. So the other part is, again, as adults with a fully developed brain, we know, okay, I'm going to get dressed and then I get to go to Starbucks and have a cup of coffee. It's my favorite thing in the whole world. But I'm going to power through the getting dressed because I get the reward at the end. But a 5-year-old doesn't really know that.
Right.
So it's easy.
Reward right now.
Right. It's easy to want to rush ahead to the fun and not do the work. And as parents, we're often trying to get them to want to do the work first, and their brains just aren't really able to do that yet. So do think about ways to make that getting dressed fun, making it a contest, or if you can't make it fun, make it easy. Lay the clothes out the night before. Don't make him make a lot of decisions. Minimize the distractions. Maybe he could bring his clothes into your room and get dressed. Like, figure out how to make this either fun or easy for him so he can get on to the part that he really likes.
Okay. That makes sense. Yeah. I think I need to make it easier.
Yeah.
Because the fun part, I think I was trying to accommodate that by going out there and, watching him dig up what he had planted in the flower garden the night before.
Okay.
Even though it was, starting to trigger me and stressing me out, but I was like, okay, this is fun for him. So then we can do the work after the fun. But I didn't close the deal, as you said. I didn't get the agreement. I didn't get his buy-in.
Okay. So work on that. And then let's go to the next step. Let's say that he ignores all that. You do all that and you come back and he's not dressed and he's out playing.
Okay.
At that point, you want to bring him back in and hold him accountable to the getting dressed before going out playing. Because when you let that slide, now you've sent him the signal that that's okay. And that becomes the habit in his brain. So you want to, Jacob, and you want to do it in a calm, regulated way. Jacob, are you dressed, buddy? Look down. Do you have on your shirt, your pants, your shoes, and your socks? No, mommy. Okay, buddy, we need to go back inside. Now, we're not yelling at him, berating him, punishing him, making him feel bad. We're just going back to the original agreement. We need to go inside and get dressed. And then after you're dressed, you can go outside and play, because we're training his brain that when we make an agreement, we follow through on it. So when we let it slide, now we're sort of confusing his brain as to what's the process.
Okay.
And in the first week, you want to allot a little extra time, because this is going to take a little bit of extra time, right? But it's work worth doing. And if you think about schools, this is how schools run for 5-year-olds. They tend to do the same thing every day. Why? Because then the little brain knows exactly what to expect.
Okay.
Right. So letting them slide is you not, setting the limits peacefully and letting, it's a little bit of permissive parenting. And it may even be because your brain's like, well, I'll let him play, but then he'll fall. Then he'll come in and get ready quickly. But his 5-year-old brain can't do that.
Right. Okay.
Right. And he knows that we made a deal and now I'm outside playing. Now I'm having fun. I don't want to come back in. And sometimes with strong-willed kids, switching gears can be really difficult.
Yes, I agree. Yeah, I think he's trained me. and I probably do that too often.
Yeah. And sometimes it's easier, or you're busy in the morning, or maybe you're not a morning person, or you're focused. Mornings are not my best parenting time. I kind of want to just be left alone in the morning in my own little brain and get myself ready. And so I remember when Malcolm was young, 5, we struggled trying to find that rhythm and the routine. And the other thing, Dani, is once you find what's working, stick with it.
Okay.
Don't deviate. If it's get dressed, play, then have breakfast. Don't get dressed, have breakfast, or have breakfast, play, stick with the routine, because that trains their brain. Oh, I go outside and play after I have on my shirt, my pants, my shoes, and my socks. And when he gets it right, we talked about this before, but when he gets it right, the shirt, the pants, the shoes, and socks are on, go nuts with the praise. Right? Because his brain gets chemical hit off of that, right? The pleasure center lights up. And then he's like, oh, well, that was fun. Okay. Shirt, pants, socks, shoes.
Okay. Yeah. That celebration part is so important.
Yeah.
And he loves it.
So in summary, I don't think it's procrastination. I think it's not clear understanding of what's expected and then coming back and following the steps each and every time.
What do I do if his older brother kind of gets in the mix or distracts him, or doesn't help him complete the task, or tries to get engaged in the bringing him back? And do you know what I'm trying to say?
Does that happen a lot?
not as much in the morning, but because he wants to go to school and he's ready to go to school, but it will happen like on a weekend or if we're trying to go somewhere else on Sunday. They kind of play off each other, right?
Yeah.
I mean, they want to play together, and then and sometimes they just like, they want to prank me or they want to play a joke on me or something. And so they'll think, oh, let's go do this thing that she said don't do because it's funny. But I want to let it be funny, but I'm like triggered because they didn't do what I asked. And so, what I like?
Yeah. Well, I think it's the same. I think it's the same kind of advice in terms of FUN.
Mm-hmm.
I think your older son, not to make him, the villain here, but he's enjoying the attention probably from distracting little brother. That's fun. And then mom getting triggered or surprised or, the joke is kind of fun too. So I would find other ways to make it fun. Getting ready to go somewhere isn't really fun for kids. And listening to mom bark out order after order after order isn't really fun. So, I think you've got to think about some things introspectively too. Am I taking too long? Do I give too many commands?
Mm-hmm.
Am I making this too complicated? Is there something else I could do? Could I do more on my own to get ready to go somewhere and then just kind of spring it on them the last 5 minutes, or really, really evaluate what you're doing and ask yourself, what could I do differently here?
Okay. Yeah. That's good advice. I definitely think my expectations can be a little high sometimes.
Yeah. Like what? What would be an example of that?
Like just, I told you once, so you should have heard me and you should have just do it, and I have been trying to ask them more questions, like, what did mommy say? Or, what is the next thing in the list to do since it's a routine, right? Like, what are you missing? My shoes, mommy. Okay, great. So let's get that done. Instead of saying, get your shoes on, get your shoes on, get your shoes on. Mm-hmm. And that has been helpful.
Yeah. And I say this with a lot of love, Dani. When we say to our kids, I told you once, you should listen. What we're really saying is, I expect you to obey my commands.
Mm-hmm.
And, that's assuming I heard you as your child the first time. And I not only heard, but I assimilated what I heard. And I am going to remember, and I'm going to not be distracted, and I'm going to go get it done. Right. So a better method might be, let's play a game. Go get your shoes on and then come back and show me that your shoes on as fast as you can.
Okay.
Right. Turn it into FUN and a challenge, right? Or, for everything you do, the first time I ask you, get a point. And when you get 6 points, we're going to do this. Or
we're going to wake up early and go to Starbucks together.
Something, it's got to be fun for me because I'm a little kid and I'm hardwired for fun.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not stressed out that we're all trying to get dressed and get out the door at 10 a.m. to get to grandma's house by 11:30. I have no concept of time. I have no concept of how much work needs to be done. I want to just entertain myself and have fun, and so either you've got to make it super simple or you've got to make it fun.
Okay. Yeah. That's very helpful.
It's really the key to cooperation. And the benefit of all this is then you're not going to get super dysregulated by thinking thoughts like, why are they doing this? Why can't they cooperate? And I think as parents, sometimes, I say this a lot, like, let's say you were going to take, Jacob to the park, and let's say he loves the park more than anything. And you're like, hey, get your shoes on so we can go to the park. And you're thinking, hey, I'm taking you to your favorite place. I don't even really want to go to the park. I'm doing this for you. I'm doing this so you can get out and have some fun and have some fresh air. And then you go into your mudroom and he's playing with a truck and doesn't have his shoes on. And you're thinking, what? How can you not have your shoes on? I'm trying to do this for you. But for him at his age, he doesn't always connect the dots. Oh, we're going to the park and I love the park. Therefore, when she tells me to put my shoes on, I should go do it.
Mm-hmm.
Because their brain, they don't have the prefrontal cortex is not working yet. They can't put all that together.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Right. So sometimes there's just a power struggle over being commanded what to do all the time.
Yes.
Right. And
Yeah,
I know that you have, yes, I know that you have strong-willed kids.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes the other thing to keep in mind, Dani, is when we're with good intentions, barking orders all the time, do this, do that, do this, do that, it wears down that strong-willed kid because they're not feeling like they're in control. And the number one thing that makes them feel in control is choices. Now, sometimes as a parent, we justify the barking because, hey, we're going to the park. Come on, right. We're going to the beach for the day. You love the beach. You can't wait to get on the boogie board and crash into the waves. I've just got to get all this stuff done and ready. And so we start barking orders. But if we gave choices, right? Do you want to put your shoes on first, or do you want to help me pack the lunch? Can you go get 4 towels, any 4 for the family? Do you want to put your shoes on first or go get the towels, right? It helps them not get defensive and want to power struggle over every little thing because they're constantly being told what to do.
Yeah, that's a big issue for me. Yeah. And my older one will fight about it, but the younger one just ignores it.
So different coping mechanisms.
Right. Same result.
Yeah. Yeah. The younger one's like, well, while they're duking it out over there, I'll just go play with my Legos.
Right. Pretty much.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So you can engage both of them. You could give them choices. Okay, ready? Who wants to go get the towels? Who wants to pick the snacks? Who wants to carry the floaties to the car? Sometimes the jobs take a little bit longer when they're helping, but it still gets them involved and engaged, and you're making it fun because now I'm helping and I'm contributing, and that feels good.
Okay. Yeah. That makes a lot of sense. And I think I know that Jacob really likes to help. His teacher's always telling me that he loves to, help and clean things. So if I can get him on board like that, that would be great.
That would be great. Yeah. Okay. So work on all that. And I can't wait to hear how it goes.
Thank you so much. Yeah, definitely.
My pleasure, Dani. So good to work with you today. Take care.
Thank you.
I work with parents to sift through their emotions, disappointment, and stories. And I guide them through the process of healing, so they can show up and be fully present as parents. And what I know for sure is that when we invest in ourselves and our families in this way, magic happens. Magic, I tell you. And what I want you to do now is check in with yourself for a second. Are you thinking and feeling right now like you'd like a piece of this magic I speak of? If yes, ma'am is the answer, or yes, please, or I'll have that, I want to invite you to come and check out The Hive. The Hive is where you learn all about the tools to become the parent you've always wanted to be. The Hive is a one-of-a-kind community that serves parents who want ongoing support with their parenting. It's designed to help you take small steps in your peaceful parenting journey that will bring you exponentially closer to the deep connection you've always wanted with your kids. The Hive enables you to have me as your parent coach in your back pocket at all times and get all your questions answered without any obligation on your end. Now, let me share with you that The Hive is not an online group of parents showcasing their social media perfect parenting. It's not a feed of inspirational quotes and empty cliches. And it's also not a place where I do all of the talking. The Hive is designed to help you make small steps in your peaceful parenting journey that are going to bring you exponentially closer to the parent you've always wanted to be in as little as 1 hour per week. Now think about this for a minute. Do you have an extra hour in your week? 1 hour, 60 minutes. Because if you have 1 hour in your week to invest in your family through The Hive, you will be the parent you've always wanted to be. I promise you. And I want you to know what's possible for your family. So if you can, close your eyes for a second. Imagine never being more than a few days away from having a tried and true parenting expert give you tailored guidance on your most recent situation. Oh, that would be amazing, wouldn't it? Imagine feeling any anxiety and guilt you feel right now about your parenting melt away. Oh, so good. Imagine feeling the love and connection with your child or your kids growing stronger every single day. Ooh. Okay, now imagine this. Imagine knowing that no parenting challenge is too big for you because of the vast experience and support you can immediately draw on within the Hive. Oh, that would be so great, wouldn't it? And you can make it a reality with what I coach and teach you in the Hive. So I want you to go to thehivecoaching.com. That's www.thehive, coaching, coaching.com to join. I cannot wait to work with you. You're going to absolutely love it. And until we meet again, I'm wishing you peaceful parenting.
Thanks for listening to Real World Peaceful Parenting. If you want more info on how you can transform your parenting, visit thepeacefulparent.com. See you soon.